Hi, welcome back. I'm Sarah. I read as Sora for Sky Messages by Sora. You can find me pretty much all over social media as Sora Sky Messages. And last week for our tarot deck review, we reviewed the Modern Witch Tarot deck. So we will be using that for our Pick a Pile mini readings today. While I shuffle, we had one jump, so we're just going to read this first for everyone before we jump into the three piles. This is the Six of Wands, and this is a card of being recognized, of having other people see you for who you are, seeing your accomplishments. It's a fun jumper before we get into three because it kind of says that that's the energy we're looking at, is we're appreciating ourselves and others. We're not worried about competing. We're understanding that there is enough for everyone. And so we are going to go farther by acknowledging that for everyone else. So that's fun. As I continue to shuffle, if you like these videos and want to see them a couple days earlier, or you want to see bonus videos and other perks, you can head over to the Patreon. If you would like a private reading, head over to the website. And if you want to see more samples, there is a whole playlist, as well as social media. How the pick-a-piles work is I do 3 piles of 3 cards each. You decide which one feels the best for you. It's pile number 1. I ask you to take your time, pause it if you need to, and just see which one you're drawn to. That's pile number 2. And then I do the readings. That's pile number 3. I do include the times for each reading. They're done as chapters, so you can skip ahead to your reading once you decide which one is for you. I am going to leave the Six of Wands there because I feel like I may relate it to the other cards as we go through. So I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath, pause if you need to, and I'm going to start the readings. Starting with pile number 1. We have the Knight of Wands, the Five of Wands, and the Four of Pentacles. So this is a very passionate energy, especially when you have the Six of Wands, and she seems to be riding right into this. The Knight of Wands is a card of adventure. It's about going after what you want, pursuing your dreams, and like really being dedicated to that, dedicated to the idea of that. It can also be about advocacy. Here it feels more like something personal, but there's that adventure and that rushing forward. The Five of Wands can be seen as competition. I see it more as a card of training, especially when you look at it with the Six of Wands. It's more about boosting each other, that like pushing each other to get better. Competing, but more to build those skills and more to, compete with who you were and always be your best, more than to actually go against others. And then the Four of Pentacles speaks to conservation, making sure that you have a good relationship with your resources, whether that's money, time, energy, instead of getting caught up in what you don't have, appreciating what you do have without grasping on so tight that you're like hoarding or focusing so hard that you miss anything else. We usually talk about these as the income savings, or income, bills, savings, fun stuff. And while there's different ways to go about that, the big thing here is not holding on so tight that you are not able to make those steps to pursue your dream. This isn't necessarily, because it's not advice I would give, the quit your job to go do whatever, but if there's something in your life that you don't love but you need, and something in your life that you're having trouble pursuing because of the time or energy or whatever that goes into the thing you need. This just kind of asks you to start making steps, particularly in terms of experience or skill, to make that switch gradually. As much as the Knight of Wands looks like he's charging in, he is still a knight. He is still more of the doing things in the right way, in a stable way, in a secure way. All in all, I love this because it is asking you to pursue your dreams, to work on what makes you great. But it's not trying to push you. It's just asking you to start taking those steps and think about where you can find more of your passions in your life. All right, moving on. Come on. Moving on to pile number 2. We have the 2 of Cups, the 4 of Cups, and the 3 of Cups. So the 2 of Cups is my card of unconditional love. It can be a card of finding soulmates. It can be romantic love. When I talk about soulmates, they aren't inherently romantic. But, so this can be, it can be family, it can be chosen family, but this is somebody that makes you feel important. Oftentimes the 2 of Cups asks that you show yourself the same kind of love. It can be the relationship with yourself and your higher self. Here it does feel like there's somebody coming in. And I kind of love this together because as that 6 of Wands, you know, that person who's like, wow, I really appreciate who you are. It's asking you to see that too. Now, the 6 of Wands is not usually romantic. It's in fact one of those things where I tend to warn people that make sure they see you for all of you. The celebration is usually about one aspect, one accomplishment. But still, these 2 cards together kind of ask you to see what it is that other people love about you, what other people celebrate, what people see as a big accomplishment, and ask you to see it yourself. Sometimes when you've worked so hard to get somewhere, you forget how much work it was. You forget all of the steps on the way. So if somebody is impressed, let them be impressed and see if you can kind of see that from their perspective as well. This is really interesting with the 4 of Cups because there's that one that's like right there, like she's being offered. It seems like it's within her reach and she can't even look at it. Now, this can be when there feels like there's a too good to be true kind of opportunity. It can be when you've been pushing yourself so hard that it just doesn't seem like that will be there. It doesn't seem real, or it doesn't seem worth it, or you just have kind of lost the ability to care. Sometimes people see the 4 of Cups as like a lack of motivation. I generally ask you where that comes from. You know, I don't think you're lazy. I don't think that you're unmotivated. I think that you have been working so hard that you're probably a little burnt out. And if it feels too good to be true, it probably is. And if it's not too good to be true, if it is meant for you, you'll get another chance. So if you can, I would ask you to ignore that cup that's hovering, that seems to be that carrot that you're always chasing, and focus more on the things that you have worked for, and really just let that one be. And I love how that leads into the 3 of Cups because there's that celebration aspect. The 3 of Cups is about having fun. It is about celebration, but not necessarily about accomplishments. It's really just enjoying the people you're with. It's a card of community. This says, like, get your friends together. Overall, and then you can even look at that as those 3 cups that you do have while you ignore the other one. Overall, this feels like a message of building your self-esteem. You know, we have the seeing things from other people's perspective. the enjoying the people around you. Maybe you poured a lot into a relationship that didn't work out, or that seems to be, maybe a relationship you're in that seems to be filled with ultimatums, and just every time you think there's a breakthrough, something happens, it's not there, and you're maybe tired of chasing it. This feels very much like taking a step back, remembering who you are, reconnecting with all the people who love you, and getting back to loving yourself. Moving on to the third and final pile. We have the Page of Wands, the Magician, and the Nine of Cups. So this is exciting. The Page of Wands asks you to explore your passions, but also speaks to messages. The pages are the messengers. They do bring knowledge. With the wands in that fire, you have that idea of someone who's passionate, someone who is motivated, someone who has great ambitions. And so this can be a message pushing you along this way. This could be anything from being accepted at like a fellowship. With the Six of Wands, it has a very like exhibition at a gallery kind of feel. Essentially, whatever passions you've been working towards, you're starting to get that recognition and get that idea of what you're going to do with that. Having it with the Magician is cool because the Magician asks what you want your life to look like. So you've been working, people are starting to notice, and now with this idea of experimentation and getting messages, getting ideas on how things will go, the Magician wants you to check in and decide what you want it to look like. And then we also have that with the Nine of Cups, which is a card of contentment, of having everything you want, especially in relationships, confidence. So this tells you if you've been really working on something you're passionate about, experimenting, maybe considering doing that full time, it is kind of asking you to go for it. So would always love to know what you're passionate about and what you're working on. Feel free to tell me in the comments, but this kind of says that if you can decide what you want, you can have what you want. So have a wonderful week. Good luck with all of it, and keep pushing forward. Thank you. See you next time.